Well, privileged to have Bharat over here, and he's a very old partner. We work very closely with BAT, very, very closely. We've done skill impact bond, learned a lot from it ourselves. So, Bharat, welcome to the show. Very nice to have you over here.
Thank you so much, Jayant. Thanks for having me. Yes, it's been wonderful to partner with you on all of the different initiatives that we've done together. Yeah, thank you for all of those things that we've done together, and great to be here.
Thank you. Could you share some of your experiences and also about what do you feel about AI? How is it that your organization is looking at AI, and you do huge amount of philanthropic work within the country? So any thoughts, challenges?
I think with the skill impact bond, our vision was to make sure that for people that get skills, it doesn't just end up with a certificate of some kind, but it actually ends up with people getting and retaining a job for as long as possible. Now, I think we are keen to sort of figure out what it would take to scale that program up. But I think as part of that journey, one of the questions, and it probably undercuts much of our work, is to say what role can technology and AI play in helping truly get skilling to the masses, right? Because these same principles, I guess, that we've applied for a cohort of about almost 50,000 people, so it was a pretty large program. But how can you take that even to a much larger group? And that is exactly the promise that AI holds. And so very excited about the kinds of things that you are building and the potential for what that can do to help enable skilling for the masses. And hopefully, therefore, also connect people with jobs as and when they need. Or even with entrepreneurship opportunities. I feel like the potential is quite limitless, especially when one starts with that intent to sort of help create livelihoods and jobs for people who are otherwise underserved. So yeah, very excited about the possibility.
And then I think you made a really good point, because see, right now, if you really look at I think the most difficult thing was basically how do you get that intelligence, or how do you get that learning to a person who was very distant away, unincluded.
Yeah.
AI actually gives us the chance to do that now. Anybody with an internet and a smartphone can kind of access any kind of learning today.
Yeah.
So which is very, very, I think, a huge equalizer.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest, I think, problem the country had. The teacher-student ratio, government schools, what was happening. So I think it really helps. We internally kind of we look at AI in three different ways. One is internal. In fact, I don't know if I should say this, but what we are saying is now that any backfill, we are saying that we have to use an AI agent to actually help the person actually. So it is an AI agent employee who would be helping people kind of do that. So I'm saying any support functions we should do that. Programmatic, obviously, we have to roll.
Right.
So we're saying we're taking a bet on this. So we are experimenting, learning, but at the same time we are saying that this is into production at Magic Bus. AI is in production. It's no more a can we do it or kind of a thing for us.
Yeah.
So one is internal. Second is we are doing it with our participants. That we reached out to 35,000 last year, 150,000 young people this year. We've also rolled it out on the adolescent program. So where we are saying that can we reach the furthest and provide them with really good learning. The third thing is about AI for masses. Where we're seeing any technology companies, it has to do AI with the context to the Indian realities for the marginalized. You look at today's AI is built by people like us. It talks about when you talk about a school or a classroom, for example, it talks about a proper student-teacher ratio. It talks about learning levels being almost the same. It talks about attendance being there, but that's not the reality.
Yeah.
So if it's really make a difference, I think we need to build AI for those. So that's our initiative. We feel that there's no way you have to get onto this bus. There's no way getting off it.
Yeah.
But there are also challenges on the other side which do worry us, that how do we get so many people into jobs? It's a service economy. A lot of these BPO jobs, etc., would change significantly in days to come. So how do we do that? So I think we are thinking. We're trying to think ahead of time before we get there.
Yeah. No, it is a huge challenge, and I think, one of the things that makes me hopeful is when you look at access data at the moment, right? It's become almost universal. Teachers have almost universal access to smartphones. Even students are getting close to that. It's probably not the 90% at this point, where you would say that there's reliable access. So at least that barrier has been crossed, I think, over the past few years, and so. The kind of application that you're talking about, I think, becomes a real possibility now. One of the things that does worry me in the process, Jayant, is this question of safety and security. Right? We run, as you know, a large-scale online safety program for children, and one of the things that we are seeing there is, a child safety program, Right? And one of the things that we're seeing there is how online platforms are becoming increasingly the channel by which harm can be done to a child.
Yeah.
Right? And so, how do we build safeguards in right from the start? Not as an afterthought later on, but build it as a safeguard right from the beginning. I feel like will be a crucial thing as we go forward.
I love what you're saying, and I think that's really critical, very very critical that we build those safeguards. In fact, I was with a gentleman who actually heads ORF yesterday, and we were discussing some of these things, brainstorming, general gup to go, as you say, right? So he made some really good points. He says that you're saying that AI is going to replace jobs, but he says people don't understand that if it's replacing jobs, how do you build the channel? So I think that's a really good point. If organizations at the junior level are going to say that AI is going to take over, so how do you build the channel?
Correct. Yeah, what is the platform to actually train people to take on that next
Yeah,
rung,
next,
which
absolutely.
is not replaced by AI.
And then AI does hallucinate also a lot. So for coding, they're saying AI is going to take over coding, but then if you really want a good code, you will still require a coder who understands AI. So there are, but I hope we are able to create those many opportunities for people as we are replacing, or maybe more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, much more, right? Because I guess if we just look at the demographic dividend, it can very quickly become a curse or a nightmare if you're not able to do that.
Absolutely.
And so, but that is the promise that that technology and AI holds today, which is really exciting.
Exactly. I think everything comes with both the good and the bad, and I think we need to balance between the two and see how we kind of move ahead.
Yeah.
Probably which works for mankind and also for the I think the millions who are there in the country.
Yeah. No, very exciting.
Thank you, Bharat. Lovely having you on this podcast.
Thanks so much, Jayant.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.